Happy Wednesday, guys. Welcome into PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Andrew and Carmine with you to break down all three games on this small slate in the NHL, and we can't wait to find some winners, sides, totals, props. We're going to talk about it all here on the show. Full transparency for me, we are off a loss with the big play yesterday. I keep making fun of this Maple Leafs team, but I lost on them yesterday. Maybe I should listen to myself and not take this Maple Leafs team anymore. But the player props continue to do very well. Yesterday, we gave out McDavid to score a goal to clients, and I also gave out a same-game parlay. Yes, you heard it right, the same-game parlay, a combo with two players to get a point. Lindell and Brad Marchand. Well, it only took about a minute and a half for those two guys to get on the board. So we're in bounce-back mode as far as the best bet is concerned. But it still was a decent day at WagerTalk. Looking to bounce back, though, and keep things going. I'll tell you what, guys. I said it last night on my show, The Pre-Scout, and I'll say it again before I throw it to Carmine and bring him in, of course. I think these slates are the ones you can really be sneaky with and make money on, Carm. You know, we were talking about it before the show together. Like, people talk about Thursdays and Saturdays and Tuesdays as the busiest days in the NHL. But, you know, you and I both bet the NFL, Carm, but doesn't mean we have to forget about NHL on Sundays. You know, I had one winner and one play last Sunday, and I think those are the days that it's going to really add up when you can really kind of all of a sudden realize, okay, maybe if I like last year, I wasn't playing much hockey on Sundays because football was consuming my time. This year, I'm not letting that happen to me again here, Carm. So, with all that being said, what I'm trying to say here is that Wednesday sometimes presents a really good slate, and today is not too bad of a slate here, Carm.
No, it's a really good slate, and hello to everyone in chat. 3 games, obviously Devils in the Wild, Sabres and Red Wings. Johnny, Detroit's Red Wings versus I claim no ownership in this team, but the Buffalo Sabres. I claim a lot of heartbreak over the years because this team pretty much has nothing going for them. And then we're going to end up with a battle in Canada, the Calgary Flames and the Montreal Canadiens, the upstart Montreal Canadiens. If you looked at these teams' forms maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, it was the other way around. It was the Calgary Flames that were doing well and Montreal struggling. And then we have a pod play. The pod play cashes yesterday with the Washington Capitals. Winning 4-1 in that game. So we cash that puck line. I normally don't do a lot of puck lines with these pod plays or even this early in the season because I still think we're only at the 6 or 7 game mark, guys. And teams are still figuring out their offenses. The goalies are coming up to speed. We've seen some pretty bad goalies. Case in point, I took a couple overs yesterday in the first period. Both of them cashed. One of them was the San Jose New York Islanders game. I believe the New York Islanders fired, even though they won the game, they fired their goaltending coach or replaced their goaltending coach after the game. They got a good one in Sorokin, but it's a good thing that the Islanders can score goals because they definitely are allowing some as well too. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the channel because with these 3 games, our thoughts on these 3 games are probably going to go pretty quickly on those. Andrew's going to have his same game parlay. Mangiapane, he must have eaten too much bread because that guy did not get a point yesterday. But the pod cashes, I'm looking forward to 6 and 60 on Friday. It is a segment that I love to do each and every year. And I always tell you guys when I do the 6 and 60 that we'll try and do a swag giveaway. And you guys can pick how close you think I'll get to getting all 6 right, including all 6 right. And it doesn't bother me if you say, Carm, I think you're going 0 and 6. It's just an opinion, guys, that you guys have. It doesn't bother me one way or another. While I'm waiting for Andrew to get back from grabbing his coffee or what have you, a quick shout out to one of our viewers right now. Howdy, I know you mentioned in there that you're going through chemo. I want to wish you all the best, man, in your recovery. Yes, cancer does absolutely suck. It took my parents away from me. It's taken some really good friends away from me, and recently, obviously, Dave Sharapan in Vegas, a good friend as well too. So I wish you all the best, man. I've got a lot of good stories of people ending up on the right side of beating it. So wish you all the best of luck, Howdy. You can do it, man. And then in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, when I get some swag, I will send you a PuckTime ball cap. I'm getting those worked on as we speak. So all the best to you, my friend. Guys, like I said, drop a comment in the comment section below. Oh, there he is, man. That must have been one hell of a
Been
coffee
back the
crew
whole
that
time.
you had there. I
I've
didn't
been here
see
the
you.
whole time.
You could have chimed in. I'm like, I almost used up all of the words that I had. It's funny because I'm watching the Vlad, and the World Series kicks off on Friday, of course. And I'm watching like the Vlad interviews because he always has the translator, right? But my thought process, Andrew, and I'm going to go to baseball real quick, guys, because we have some time. It was, come on, man, you're in the country, whether it's Canada or whether it's the US, and I get it, you're playing for a sports team, but learn the language. You know what I mean? And I think about my parents who immigrated to Canada in '65, and my dad learned to speak very good English. My mom learned to speak English, and it was great. You know what I mean? It was broken English at times, but Vladdy has gotten so much better, man. Watching the emotion of his interview with Hazel May, God bless that guy, man. He has picked up the English language and he's gone with it. And we got him for 14 more years here in Canada.
Yeah. The contract hasn't even kicked in yet.
As
The
part of that
contract has not
contract,
even settled in.
it is like who's the baseball player? You guys know who's the guy for the Mets? Is it Bonilla? I think it's Bonilla, where they have a Bonilla day, Andrew, where he's still collecting $1 million a year in salary because they signed him to they deferred his contract like 50 years, where he gets $1 million a year. So God bless guys like that take one for the team, like Connor McDavid did for the Edmonton Oilers, a 2-year contract below what he's worth in order to keep some cap space for the Edmonton Oilers. And God bless the Edmonton Oilers for not ruining my $5 customer appreciation day play yesterday. 2 goals in the first 90 seconds of the third period to make it 2-2. They blew that lead, Andrew, and I was like, oh, you got to be effing kidding me. But we found a way to win. With that said, Andrew, I want to hear your thoughts on the Devils and the Wild. New Jersey minus 139 off that win in Toronto last night, second of a back-to-back for them. The Minnesota Wild plus 114. Total sits here at 5.5.
Carm, I think that this might be a collective effort for you and I as far as this is concerned, because I think you and I have similar thoughts to this one. And before I start, I want to give a shout out to Chris Otto. Once again, Chris has all kinds of first period totals or first period puck lines and all that good stuff. He came on the pre-scout with me last week, and he's always active on social media and tagging us in all kinds of great information. If you guys aren't following him at PSU Auto, he's a great follow. And well, he talked, Carm, about this particular matchup or this particular situation where you have a second half of a back-to-back, and the team that's on the second half of a back-to-back is coming off a win. And I think that it's very foolish for people to think that back-to-backs don't matter early on in the season, because I really do think that they do. When you look at back-to-backs and you really look at kind of, I think that the idea behind the fatigue and the exhaustion for these teams, people think that because it's early in the season, it won't really impact teams very much. But sometimes it can be the opposite, where a team has not settled into their routine yet. They haven't settled into the system yet. It's a long 82-game season, so maybe they're just not used to the season quite yet. All that stuff gets in the mix, but we always talk about a team feeling satisfied, a team feeling fired up. And if you look through the schedule right now for this New Jersey Devils team, no matter how we try and phrase it, this Devils team is looking good. But when you want to talk about a team feeling satisfied, when you want to talk about a team that should be entering a game feeling a little bit proud of themselves, it should be this particular matchup in this one. Now, the Devils are scoring goals, so I wouldn't talk anybody off the over 5.5 here. Second half of back-to-back, you're getting backup goaltenders, Nico Daws in net, and Minnesota. As far as they're concerned, they should be about as hungry as it gets, Carm. Not only have they not been scoring, but they've also been losing on the road. And, they are coming off a decent performance, but this is a team towards the last game of their road trip where they're not going to be taking their foot off the gas pedal. Sometimes we see a team towards the end of a road trip, and if it's been a good road trip, we say, hey, look, end of a road trip, we're not going to see a full effort out of them. I think we're going to get a good effort out of Minnesota. So I like the full game over. We look towards Minnesota in the first period. A lot of people are going to tell you, hey, look, the Devils are playing really well right now. What's the deal with this short price? And I think the price tells you all you need to know about this game here, Carm. And so far, we've seen teams second half of back-to-back coming off a win. The team visiting and fresh and not off the back-to-back has hit 70% of the time early on. And it's whether it's first period or full game, they've done extremely well. And you have a stat, and you've been talking about this New Jersey team, I think, for the last 2 years about how they've done on home ice. And, of course, New Jersey, not just second half of back-to-back for them, but also they were in Toronto last night.
Yeah, they were. And apparently they played extremely well in beating the Leafs. I'm going to get to that stat later on because it's going to be part of the pod. But I will say this, and listen, I get it. Second of a back-to-back for New Jersey, a lower line than some might expect. Nico Daws comes up from Utica, the AHL, to start this one. He started 6 times last year. He was 3-1 last year in 6 starts or appearances, 1.6 goals against average, and a .939 save percentage. Those are very strong numbers for a small sample size with this Devils team. But, I talk about sometimes is the fact that you have to look at some of these teams and have they turned the corner on a bad stretch of games for them. And the Minnesota Wild definitely had a bad stretch of 4 or 5 games where they allowed something like 20 goals and lost 4 or 5 games. Their last 2 games, they have played extremely well defensively. Obviously, they lose one in OT 2-1. Their next game, another very good game by this Minnesota team. I think that they're one of those teams that have turned the corner, and when they're playing at their best, they definitely can go into New Jersey and beat the Devils. As part of a full game line, I think I would look at the Wild here plus 114, and hope that the fact that their last 2 games have been very good games for them, that they've shored up or figured out what the problems were defensively, and want to finish off this road trip extremely strong. Taking plus money with the Minnesota Wild is not a bad play here at all. Andrew, for me, plus 114, I wish it was a little higher, to be honest with you. And who knows, maybe we do get some money. I'm just having a look. I wrote down the numbers earlier, but I'm seeing plus 114. Fanatics, which their lines are always kind of weird, plus 120 there. I don't see anything better than that. Even DK, that tends to overprice the favorites, has it at 135 and plus 114. So you're not going to get much better across the board. So we'll see what happens here. But I think the Wild, for me, Andrew, I think the Wild have to be the play tonight, despite how well New Jersey's playing. We said the same thing about the Carolina Hurricanes. Unbeaten, playing extremely well, going into Vegas, and the Vegas Golden Knights dealt them their first loss of the season. So off that 3-1 win against the Rangers and that 2-1 loss in OT to Philadelphia, I think the team has turned the corner. I hope they've turned the corner. And if they have, I'm going to cash a plus 114 ticket on them tonight.
Just don't really think this is a spot, Carm, where we're grasping by any means, searching for an underdog. This is a really skilled team, and This is a team. One thing I will mention, if we want to be contrarians about our play here, Carm, is that I talked about it actually a couple of games ago when the Wild played against the Capitals. This Wild team is still struggling to score 5-on-5, but their power play numbers are out of this world. If they can get a couple 5-on-5 opportunities and capitalize on those, their power play has been unbelievable. I think they just have to look at a lot more and try and, create more chances and be almost less maybe picky 5-on-5. But regardless, this is going to be a good prop game. So I'm going to be on this one. I think Eriksson Ek shots is going to be a good one to look at. Boldy just keeps on participating, keeps on putting points on the board. He's out there every single night. I think whether it's an assist or a goal, Boldy's been really good. See, Carm, I find with the prop world these days in the NHL, you got to find a way to bet the guys that are not the top guys. Like Kirill Kaprizov, it's hard to even bet him to score a goal. It's hard to bet him to get an assist because his odds are so poor. The odds are so bad for those top guys. But with the secondary options, you can get it done there. With the second half of back-to-back, do you agree with me, though, Carm? I mean, Nico Dawes is no slouch, but do you agree that the over is a lean as well? Like, I feel like 9 times out of 10 when I play Wild games and you look at Natural Stat Trick or Money Puck or the NHL game cards, anywhere will tell you the advanced data leans towards low-scoring games for the Wild. But maybe this game kind of sets up for more of an exciting Wild game.
You would think I don't want to go with the like sort of opposite of the narrative that Minnesota Wild games stay under or tend to stay under the total. They went through that spurt, Andrew, where they didn't look good defensively. But as I mentioned, in watching their 2 games, because I watched the Philadelphia Minnesota game because I had Philadelphia as a client play, and I watched a majority of the Rangers game because I just wanted to see how that game played out and whether the Rangers were getting any better or still unlucky with puck luck. And the Wild played a second consecutive very good defensive game. Their back checking was good, cycling the puck in the O zone, getting it out of their own zone. They did the job that they were supposed to do, and they're playing well. And when a team starts, it's like I said, have they turned the corner? Or was that just a mirage of two games in which you can say they beat the New York Rangers, who can't score any goals right now, and they lost to Philadelphia, but the game went to OT, tied at 1. I tend to believe that a team like the Wild, who are a team we expect to make the playoffs this season, are going to have a good season, are going to go through spurts like every team does, in which they struggle for a pack of games, 4 or 5, maybe 6 games. But once they start to put it together, they get on a bit of a run. I want to jump on a team when they're starting the run and not in the middle of the run. I echo that, and I repeat it all the time. I want to get on a team when they're starting a run, and maybe the Wild are starting their run here. We'll see if that works out. It's going to be very tough against the Devils team that's playing some very good hockey, but maybe this is the spot for them, second of a back-to-back. The line does seem kind of fishy to me. I would have thought the Devils, the way they're playing right now at home, probably in the minus 150 range. I don't think it could go any higher than that, because then I think everyone would jump in on the Wild. So books have priced this pretty good as far as it goes, and as far as the total goes, I would lean under in this game. Just the fact that I get it, it's Nico Dawes, but he's coming up from, like I said, from Utica, and it's not like you're bringing up kind of like what the Sabres are doing in the next game we're going to discuss. You're bringing up an unproven guy from an AHL team that hasn't been there before. He's coming up, Nico Dawes, and he's playing on home ice, where you would think the Devils play a little bit better through 60 minutes, maybe not 20. But we'll discuss that at the end of the show as well, too. Speaking of goalies, Andrew, it looks like it's going to be Colton Ellis for the Sabres tonight, being called up. Sabres minus 108, the Red Wings minus 112. The total sits here at 6. Ellis is up. Obviously, there are injuries to Pekka Luukkonen, who isn't ready to play as of yet. Lions have been taking a bulk Andrew, of the starts, if not all of them. And they have a back-to-back coming up with the Leafs, do the Buffalo Sabres. So you sort of have to get somebody else in there. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Carm, I always do this. I'm a little bit, proud of all the guys that come out of my area. He's not exactly from where I'm from, but he's from where my old man is from, who you met around that same area. And I'm wishing Colton Ellis all the best. He's been in the AHL for a while. He's had some opportunities in the NHL, but mostly been a backup. So really hoping the best for him tonight. Hopefully your Buffalo Sabres can play well in front of him. I actually had a friend of mine that was in Montreal, got a press pass the other day to go up there. He works for a radio station locally here, and got to go do an interview with him and cover him. And the guy didn't even play. Like, he was covering this player, but he didn't even play in the game. He was a backup that night. But the guy I knew actually drove up there and still went to cover the game. So it's a huge deal for this guy, but also it's a huge deal for the Buffalo Sabres to have a goalie in net that's not named Alex Lyon. Now, last night on my show, I was looking at the numbers for the XG and the expected goals against and all that stuff. And, one thing that we cannot deny is that Alex Lyon was putting on a clinic for the Buffalo Sabres. There's no denying it. There's no doubt about it. He was saving them a lot. He was saving goals he probably shouldn't have, saving shots he probably shouldn't have. But I think this Buffalo Sabres team is producing more offense than people are aware of as well. And when I look at some of the data, when I look at some of these numbers here, whether it's natural stat trick, whether it's money puck, I think that this team deserves a bit more respect, which I know might sound kind of funny here, Carm, that we're talking about respect when it comes to your Buffalo Sabres. But I think that this is a team that is going to surprise some people with the talent level that they have. This is a team that, if you go overall, you look at some of the lists here, they're starting to create more chances over the last couple of games. And if you look at on the season, expected goals for all over 5-on-5 situations or all situations, including the power plays and penalty kills, you've got Detroit right now that ranks 25th in the league in expected goals for. So it's not like they're really creating a ton of chances here, guys. And Carm, I'm going to be the one that will continue to say it, that I don't trust the defense and I don't trust the goaltending of this Red Wings team. Sure, it's turned around a little bit as of late. Sure, this Red Wings team, after they lost against the Montreal Canadiens, they've looked pretty damn good. There's no denying it. But I say this every day on the show, and I'm going to say it again. When games look weird, as far as the price is concerned, like this one does, it's weird for a reason. You got a backup goaltender, a guy that's barely played many games at all for the Buffalo Sabres. They're playing at home. I get it. We got a practical pick-em price in this one. And you got the Red Wings that beat the Oilers, beat the Lightning, beat the Panthers, beat the Leafs. What am I missing here, brother? What am I missing? Why aren't the Red Wings minus 130, 140 in this game? What am I missing? So I'm going to take the Buffalo Sabres to execute more, to take advantage of maybe an overachieving Red Wings team. And maybe it's that theory, Carm, that when you have a young goaltender in net, you do everything you can to soccer style park the bus and finally play a good defensive game. So I'm going to sprinkle on the Buffalo Sabres. Yesterday, there was a line that didn't make any sense to me, guys, and that was the Pittsburgh Penguins against the Vancouver Canucks. And, well, that worked out pretty well. We'll see how it goes today, Carm, but we're taking the Buffalo Sabres to get the job done.
I'm dying here, Andrew. I'm dying here. Not because of your comments, but TJ Salvador, I love to see him in the chat. I can see Carm in front of the TV watching the game with a big bowl of Cacio and Pepe rooting for the over. Yeah. I actually feel like making Cacio Pepe tonight. For those guys that don't know, that is a pasta dish. The Pepe is obviously the pepper part of it. But Andrew, Colton Ellis from born in, let's see here. Let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. Waikokoma, Nova Scotia. You're October 5th, 2000. So the guy's only 25 years old. But when you look at a goalie coming up from the AHL, you kind of want to look at not just his current numbers, but like even like the last couple of years of how he's fared there. And you just want to make sure that there's positive numbers there that might translate into some early success in the NHL. And you look at them for the Springfield Thunderbirds 2024-2025 season, 22-14-3 with a 9.22 or 9.922 save percentage and a 263 goals against average. For an AHL goalie coming up, Andrew, those are actually pretty good numbers for them. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure on the total, just because I expect the Sabres to start scoring at some point. I'm throwing the Ottawa game right out of the window, scoring 8 goals against the Senators. I think they're more of a team right now that you can look at, they're probably going to score 2 or 3, maybe 4 goals. So it's tough for me to want to take the over in this one. And to your point of the Detroit Red Wings beating all these good teams, how many times, guys, and you all know it, year in and year out, Andrew, you say it about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm not harping, I'm just using them as an example here and not beating down on them. They beat teams like Tampa Bay, Florida, Colorado, Vegas, and then they lose to San Jose, Arizona, Anaheim. You get up for some teams, and then you think you can go through the motions against some teams. The Detroit Red Wings don't want to go through the motions tonight against the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo. They're going to end up on the wrong side of a result. It's, again, a fishy line in these ones that the Wings are only minus 112 on the road. And if you've been to a Sabres game, and I've been to quite a few, the attendance seems to be more in favor of the away team. Like, it's a home game for the Leafs. When they're in Buffalo, it's a home game for the Leafs. When I went for a Buffalo-Montreal game, it was Montreal jerseys throughout the arena. Sabre season ticket holders sell their premium games online, which are snapped up by visiting fans, and at a little extra, and they use it to pay off their season tickets by selling, 6 to 8 premium games. So you'll see a lot of Detroit Red Wings jerseys in the stands tonight for this one. But with that said, Andrew, I'm not touching the total, but I am going to go with the Cacio Pepe play of the night, the Buffalo Sabres. Hopefully I don't choke on my pasta with this one.
Hey, Carm, it's looking like one of those days. It's just me and you on the show, of course, talking to the live chat, talking to the audience, but we're both on the same page. So I hope that you and I are coming back on the show tomorrow morning. We're both in a good mood, and we're ready to attack the Thursday board together, because sounds like we both like a lot of the same stuff for this slate, and I'm looking forward to it, Carm. So it's a pretty good day for the NHL. And remind you guys as well, all of our plays at WagerTalk.com. Carm is WT.buzz/CB. I am WT.buzz/AM. And we've got best bets, we've got free plays, we've got props. And the big thing, guys, at WagerTalk that Carm and I especially are going to make sure that you guys are following with us is the grading system and the percentage of the bankroll. And that's why Carm is doing the bankroll, to show you guys the long-term ability to grow a bankroll. But it's going to be rare for me to have props that are 1 or 2%. This year, I've decided a lot of my props are 0.25 units, 0.5 units. So yesterday, we earned about a unit with player props, right? And so when I release a 5%, that's the best bet that we're going to release. 3%, 2%. It's important when you guys sign up that you're managing your bankroll and you're getting things going right now. This is a deal that I currently still have going right now. NHL 25 for 25% off a 30-day NHL pass. And Carm, I was going to save this till the end, but we had a question here, and from Pocket Surprise here said, question, if I buy a monthly package, could I make my money back to keep buying the package? I know it takes more than once. Would this be a reasonable expectation? Well, I think the first thing that we would say, and Carm, you've been doing this a long time as well, you jump in with anything. I would say the first thing is that I know people probably think that we're trying to get people on board. I'm going to tell you guys this. It's more beneficial for us if people buy every single day. You guys are saving buying long term. And so the best thing to do as far as buying the monthly package, could I make my money back to keep buying the package? That is a good move, because if you're buying every single day, one singular 4% best bet is $25. A 5% play is $35. Use that promo code. I have NHL25. You're going to take 25% off a full 30-day. You're going to get all of my plays in one. So it's most certainly a reasonable expectation, especially if we're on a good run, if we're managing the bankroll properly and we're finding some winners for you. That's the best way to go about it. Now, the thing is, some people want a 3-day, some people want a 7-day, but Pocket Surprise 380, Carm, he's asking this, and I think it's of course a reasonable expectation to make your money back. I think the longer term that you buy, of course, we don't know their unit structure and what they're betting per game, so it's hard for us to answer it. But I think
that's why I want, and that's why I want to jump in. I'm likely, hopefully the Detroit office isn't watching this next 30 seconds, or our CFO isn't watching right now. Rick, if you're watching, just please hit the mute button. It all depends. It all depends on your unit size, and I do not want to know your unit size. Pun intended there. But if you're a guy who's betting $10, $15, $20 a game, then buying a monthly package may not be the best way for you to go. WagerTalk does have things in place where we have our $5 Tuesdays, which makes it affordable for someone to buy it. If you're someone who's betting a larger amount, then yes, I would say buy a 30-day, a 3 or a 7. I think 30 days you can really judge someone by it. And part of the $5 Tuesdays is putting up promos where you can get some great deals from them, or message the office. Just don't spam them, but message the office and ask them if there's any deals going out as a first-time customer or what have you. I think that's sort of the most important thing, because at the end of the day, you're factoring the cost of the package into your overall ROI as well too. And if a guy is winning, he's going to make you money, and then you decide whether you want to hop on for another month and moving forward. So, and then he's not on the show, and but I talked to him this morning, like the Prez, and I'm going to give the guy kudos, because the Prez, the last few years, has been like absolutely lights out with his NHL. Does extremely well. He's off to a not so great start in October, and I've been there. The last couple of Octobers for me, I've hated it. But sometimes it's good to get a handicapper who's proven long term when they're slumping, because as I mentioned before, the law of large numbers, that if a guy's hitting up here, or hitting way down here, it's going to sometimes end up here in the positives, but not 80%, but more like 60%, and not 30%, but more like 60%. So with that said, Prez doesn't need me to be his sales guy for him. He really doesn't. I'm just mentioning that. But Andrew, you put in the hard work each and every day, especially with the prop plays and what have you. And I think that's one of the toughest things is people are going to get that extra value from your prop plays. And even though you're releasing it at a quarter or half of 1%, you're not going for the guys that sports books will overprice, because they know people are like, oh, Edmonton's playing Vancouver. Okay. Connor McDavid to score, Leon Draisaitl to score, over shots on goal. The books cook the price. Everything is cooked there, because they know that people who don't do the homework are going to go for those top guys, because they haven't heard of the guy on the third line who may have gone 6 of 7 games over his shot total of 2.5, Andrew.
Yeah.
But you do. So that's where the package has tremendous value, is when someone is doing all the homework for you. Think about a high school. I mean, if you sort of floated through high school and university because you stole the answers from someone else or paid someone else for it, you got there. Anyways, I'm like the old man yelling at the clouds.
Where's Mo today? Is Mo here? Thanks for the
Mo is in my hockey picks at the moment. I'm 8-2 my last 10 plays.
Woo! There we go, Carm.
Well, I'm hanging with Mo. I'm keeping Mo in the backyard shed with a couple of padlocks, and he's staying there until I have a huge lead on everybody else for another number one spot in
Carm is going out for beers with
NHL.
Mo tonight to try and
Yeah.
keep things going, keep things light. All right, Carm. So yeah, everybody's dapping you up for the bankroll play, man. Huge hit by
All
you
right.
on the Capitals. Big win. That was definitely the most dominant win on the board yesterday. Carm, we got one game left here, and I'm going to keep it short and simple. The Flames have defeated. I want to be proper grammar here. They've defeated the Montreal Canadiens 4 straight games. Hasn't looked great. This is a young team, the Montreal Canadiens, that just had a successful homestand. Only lost 1 game. All right. But it's their first time going out on the road for a big old road swing. They got a back-to-back, as you used to call it, the Alberta double-double there, the Tim Hortons advertisement. As you sip your coffee, they're playing the Oilers on Thursday. So very interesting number on this one. People think that it should be almost a bigger number on the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to leave it to you for your thoughts on that one. I do find it a little bit tricky, but I'm going to give out a player prop. And this is actually one that I'm looking at here, Carm, and I've got this. And hold on. Give me a second. Hold that thought. There it is. Cole Caulfield. He seems to do well on the road. You know, I think that for some of these younger teams, there's going to be certain players, like I mentioned, Demidov, the new young player for the Canadiens. He's probably going to do better at home, you know, getting the last change. He's a younger player playing in front of the fans and things like that. But some of the more experienced guys are going to have to step up, especially on the road. And these are the average, the pass shot attempt numbers for Cole Caulfield in his last several road games. 10, 3, 8, 7, 12, 8, 10, 5, 3, and 6. Now, the funny thing is, if you look at it, he's only barely gone over 2.5 with 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 5, 5, 3, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to take the over 2.5 shots on goal. Best price I found was at FanDuel minus 140. But we got to sprinkle. a little bit here, Carm, on the 4+ shots for Cole Caulfield at plus 135. Look at these shot attempt numbers. You can't argue with the numbers here. And I think this guy is going to have a lot more to ice time, I'd say, and a lot more to do with these road games than he would. Because I think the second line and third line are going to be productive at home. But the top line, you really need to show up when you're playing at home. All right, that's it. Dan will kill me if I take that banner on away anymore. So I got to take that back and put you back on the screen here, Carm. My Habs, can they keep rolling, or it is a bad spot for them tonight? Is it going to be tough for them? What do you think?
Well, here's what I think, Andrew, because you asked me, so I'm going to tell you. And I know you're a Montreal fan, and I know you and Don Buster seem to think I always make fun of your Montreal Canadiens. I will say this. Just because I think Calgary is a dumpster fire at the moment, and I think they're going to have an absolutely miserable season. And it's not because a lot was expected of them, which means that you would think that a team makes a coaching change, which they're not going to do. A team brings in players, they're not going to do that either. I think they understand the fact, and I think their fan base understands the fact that they're not making the playoffs this year. So let's hope they finish in one of the bottom 3 spots and have a shot at winning the draft lottery and getting McKenna this season. We're only 7 games in. But speaking of which, 7 games in, and the Montreal Canadiens have yet to trail after 20 minutes. 4 wins and 3 pushes in 7 games. The Montreal Canadiens are playing, at least early on this season, with just a lot of energy and playing extremely well. I don't want to go against a stat in which a team has never trailed in the first period and say take Calgary to come out and play strong, because you're just hoping something happens as opposed to at least using some data to know that it's likely not going to happen. The Montreal Canadiens are playing well. You got to lay about $1.20 on them instead of the $1.27. And you could end up with a push if it's tied after 20 minutes. But I think the Montreal Canadiens first period is likely to play here for me. 4 wins and 3 pushes thus far, Andrew, this season in the opening 20 minutes for Montreal. And Bring it up real quickly. And as far as on the road, the Montreal Canadiens, 3 games on the road. They've been tied after 20 in 2 of them and have led in 1. So quick start by the Montreal Canadiens. They get the first period lead. I call it a night, go to sleep, watch some Netflix, and don't have to watch the second and third periods of these 2 teams.
I can always tell, Carm, when you're like, I'll toss on some Netflix. I want to watch something else. Carm is coming at us with a first period play. Steve says this game has scared me away. I did Slavkovsky point. Slav's been pretty good lately. This is one thing about him is he's not the most flashy guy, but he's going to be playing with those top guys all the time. So I'm very curious, Carm, as a fan. I'll always give you my fan perspective, but I do follow the team. I am very curious. I'm going to learn a lot about this team over the next 3 or 4 games because they have impressed me with how they've played at home. Now, a lot is going to have to be said about how they play on the road. It's one thing to look good at home. It's one thing to have a good start to the season. And luckily for them, like some of the people I watch, because I watch a lot of podcasts, and some of the Habs guys that I've watched, they're saying there's a real opportunity right now for the Montreal Canadiens here because look at the slow start that Tampa Bay's had. Look at the slow start Florida's had. Look at the slow start that the Maple Leafs have had. Like, if you're Detroit and if you're Montreal right now, you need to have your foot on the gas. The Ottawa Senators just lost again. The Maple Leafs just lost again. So, Carm, I'm sure you're with me on that one, man. Like, this is a time where this team can maybe create some separation because last year they were so bad in October, November, and I know I'm a fan, but I'm sure you agree with me here. I mean, if they can have a good road trip here, it'll make a world of a difference for them, as far as the season's concerned, because not only are they playing well, but some other teams in the division are playing bad.
Yeah, dude, I had no idea you're a Montreal fan prior to this show. So
Yeah.
I know you guys want to make the playoffs. I get it. But with like I said, this is kind of a weird card tonight, and I'm on a nice little run, as I mentioned. So I have one client play up, which is also the pod play, and it's listed on WagerTalk as a free play as well too. So I'm not going to have any other plays tonight. I'm not going to have a card that's up for sale. So you're going to get my 2% client play for free on the show. And I'll be working on my Thursday card and likely get that one up overnight because I pretty much know all the goaltending situations heading into the Thursday card, which tomorrow it's Brian Leonard and the Prez coming on to break down the game. So you guys are going to get 5 games tomorrow. Andrew, I know you have a same game parlay, so I'll do the pod and then you can do the same game parlay. I believe you have one.
Yes, sir. You're ready to go.
But here we go. As far as the pod, guys, we cashed with Washington last.
Hold on, Carm. Hold on.
This is my segment, man. Get your ugly mug out of there. Okay. Anyways, let me start this over in case we have to clip it later. But starting bankroll, we are up $218. We're continuing with, unless it's a prop play, like a player prop play, it is always going to be a $200 flat bet. So this is $200 on the Minnesota Wild first period plus 107. So it's 2 to win, 214. As I mentioned previously, the New Jersey Devils at home in the opening 20 minutes aren't very strong. Last year, 9 wins, 13 times they trailed, 19 times they were tied at the end of 20 minutes, minus 13.35 units. That's the 5th worst in the NHL last season, or minus 19.93 ROI. This season, 2 home games, they've trailed after 20 once, and they've been tied after 20. So we are going to do Minnesota first period plus 107, see if they can catch the Devils on the second of a back-to-back, a little leg weary in the opening 20 minutes. So that's your play. That's your pod play, guys. Andrew?
Carm, I like it, man. I like it. I like that spot for them. I think they're going to be very, very hungry right now to get it going. I'll be super quick with this, so you can stay on the screen with me here, Carm, with this one. I've got my same game parlay, guys. And I'll tell you what, these aren't going to hit every day. These aren't going to hit every single day. That's for sure. But with some of the numbers that we're getting here, we're hoping that we can produce some good numbers and hit a couple of these each week. This one here is plus 462, plus 462. Joel Eriksson Ek for the Minnesota Wild, a very, very hungry team right now, catching a Devils team second half of a back-to-back. Eriksson Ek does very well against the New Jersey Devils in head-to-head in recent history, and he is on the top line, so he'll do very well. He's been shuffled around, but either way, he's in the top 6 no matter what. Zach Benson, he's a top-line guy and someone that people should get to know for the Buffalo Sabres because he's been playing very, very well, coming off a game with a ton of scoring chances of his own, but he's also a good playmaker. They're at home, and I think it's a good spot for them against the Wings. And Cole Caulfield, we talked about it. His road numbers are very, very good as far as his shots are concerned. His shot attempts are higher on the road than they are at home. He really takes it upon himself to shoot the puck a ton. Plus 462. I picked one player prop from each game today, Carm. We need one prop from each game to get the job done and cash a ticket, and hopefully we can do so. So, Carm, a couple questions we want to answer, then we really got to get out of here. But this one here from Danny. Look, Danny is asking us, the point for me, because I talked about how I'm going to be doing a half unit, right, for my player props. He's asking, how is it worth your time? Half a unit's not worth your time. All I'm going to say is this. It's all about growth. It's about building your bankroll. But one of the main reasons why I'm doing that, Danny, is because more often than not, each night I'm going to have a handful of props that I like. So instead of me doing one prop at 3%, I'm going to be giving out a handful of props at 0.5%. So I'm relying on my clients to make sure you follow that structure with me so that we can maintain that structure, maintain the bankroll. And there is a lot of variance with player props, but I trust my research because I know what happens. If I give out one player prop for 3%, then the other 3 props that I liked as well are going to hit, and then maybe that one doesn't hit. So I'm going to trust my process, give out 3 or 4 props each night, and Karma, I think that will lead me to success. Fortunat says, how refreshing is it the NHL number 1 pick in consecutive drafts are remarkable young men. Schaefer and McKenna will be such impressive standard bearers for the league for a long time. He seems great. Ethan mentioned this to me on X. I didn't get back to him. I felt bad. Got to get back to him today about this, but I know we have to go. It's been a long show. WagerTalk today is coming up here. Would love to hear a situational factor that plays into it. Well, there's one that you're talking about with your pod play today, which is taking a team first period that's playing a team second half of back-to-back. Is there anything else you wanted to mention for Ethan? Anything you can think off the top of your head for situational plays?
Yeah, all we can really do this early in the season is look at some of the stats from last year and see, are they applicable? Because some aren't and some are, because teams change during the offseason, players leave, players come in. Defensemen are shored up. So as far as some of these props, you have to or trends, you have to give the NHL a month and a half for you to be using more relevant data. And it's why I always say tread lightly in the first few weeks of the season. You have to, because you're using last year's data to try and predict this year's results. So with that said, unless you're watching every single game, which I kind of do, and Andrew kind of does. So if you're not watching it, you're relying on box scores. So it's just putting in the time and watching trends develop. The one with the Vegas Golden Knights, as I mentioned, they're now 3-0 in 3 home games, or 4-0 to the first period over. This is something that was relevant last year. 6-0 their first 6 games at home to the first period over. 10-2 their first 12 games at home to the over, and then eventually that died. It's kind of like the law of large numbers. I keep mentioning it. I'm repeating myself, but it is, you allow something to happen until you get priced out of it, or not. One guy mentioned he waited way too long to take the Vegas Knights because the over in the first period, and it got juiced to 170. It was 130 earlier in the day, 135. If you wait until the end of the day and you don't play these games early because you want to see how you did in the first couple of games, you're likely going to take a bad price later on in the evening just before game time because books adjust those prices.
Yeah.
Don't take a bad price. 170 is not 135. You will not beat a book betting 170 with regularity when 135 was available.
All right, guys, we missed a couple of the questions, but make sure tomorrow you tune in, or Friday tune in. It'll be a smaller slate on Friday as well. We'll make sure to get to them. But look, 3 games today. Obviously, we're both in great moods. Looking forward to a really fun night. Hopefully, you guys can make some money with us. Let's cash these tickets. Let's cash the same game parlay. Let's cash the bankroll play of the day, Carm. And you guys can find all of us at WagerTalk.com. And by all of us, I meant myself and Carmine. That will do it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.